Okay, this is the answers to the density worksheet, and I am going to go through this quickly since it's a video. If you need to go back and look over anything, you're more than welcome to. Once again, the density is equal to mass divided by volume, our little triangle. So if we're solving for mass, mass is density times volume. So mass is equal to density times volume. So that's 3 times 100 gives us 300. And the mass will be labeled in grams. Density is equal to mass divided by volume. Our mass is 95. Our volume is 950. If we divide that out, we should get 0.10. 0.1, and that is going to be labeled in grams per milliliter. Volume is equal to mass divided by density. So volume is equal to 20 over 0.5. And I did this one in earlier, and I gave you the wrong answer. The correct answer should be 40, and it is going to be labeled in cubic centimeters. We need to convert from liters to milliliters. We're going to move it to the right 3 places. So that's 1, 2, 3. And we're going to fill in those zeros. So we have 1200. So mass is equal to density times volume. Mass is equal to density times volume. So our density is 24 times 1200. And if we take 24 times 1200, we get 28800. And that's going to be in grams because that is our mass. Density is equal to mass divided by volume. We're in kilograms, so we need to get to grams. We're going to move that to the right 3 times. So we can move 1, 2, 3, fill in our zeros. So we have 1500 grams. Excuse me, my mass is 100 divided by, no, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. Our mass is 1500 divided by 100. And if we divide that out, our density should be 15. And that will be labeled in grams per milliliter. Here we need to convert from liters to milliliters, 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3. So that should give us 520. And our mass is in milligrams, and then we need to convert that to grams. So we need to move that to the left 3 places, 1, 2, 3. So that will give us 0.5. Density is equal to mass divided by volume. Our mass is 0.5. Our volume is 520. So 0.5 divided by 520 equals 0.00096. And that is going to be labeled in grams per milliliter. And some of you might go, wow, that number doesn't look right. Well, if it has a density that low, it's probably, it is a gas. So gases have a very low density. So working on some word problems. A block of aluminum has a volume, there's our volume, and a mass of, there's our mass. Density is equal to mass divided by volume. Our mass was 40.5. Our volume was 15. We divide that out. 40.5 divided by 15 gives us 2.7, and that will be grams per milliliter. A mercury metal is poured into a graduated cylinder that holds exactly 22.5 milliliters. The mercury is filled use to fill a cylinder that has a mass of that. From this information, calculate the density. Density is equal to mass divided by volume. Our mass is 306 divided by 22.5. 306 divided by 22.5 gives us 13.6 grams per milliliter. Mercury is so cool. It's a metal that's liquid, but it also makes you sick, very deadly. The mass of ethanol is what is the mass? So we're solving for mass of ethanol that fills. So we have 200 milliliters container, and there's the density. Density is equal to mass divided by volume. And if we're solving for mass, we take density times volume. Mass is equal to density times volume. Our density is 0.789 times our volume, which is 200, 0.789 times 200, and that gives us 157.8. Mass will be labeled in grams. A rectangular block of copper has a mass of, there's the mass, the dimensions of the block are 8.4 by 5.5 times 4.6 from the data. Density, find the volume of the block first. The volume is equal to length times width times height, or 8.4 times 5.5 times 4.6, and 8.4 times 5.5 times 4.6 gives us 212.52. Density is equal to mass divided by volume. Our mass is 1896 divided by 212.52. 1896 divided by 212.52 equals 8.9. And that is going to be labeled in grams per cubic centimeter. Number 5, the volume of silver metal weighs exactly what volume? Sorry, we're trying to solve for volume. There's our mass, and it has a density of that. So density is mass divided by volume, and if we're looking for volume, we need to take mass divided by density. So mass divided by density, our mass is 2500 divided by our volume, which is 10.5, divided by our density, 2500 divided by 10.5 equals 238 and 0.09. Rounding is up to you. Our volume is going to be in cubic centimeters. Find the mass of 250 milliliters of benzene. Benzene has a density of that. If we're solving for mass, mass is equal to density times volume. Our density is 0.8765 times our volume, 250. If we take 0.8765 times 250 equals 219.125. You can have it if you want, and the mass will be labeled in grams. A block of lead has dimensions of 4.5 times 5.2 times 6.0. The block has a mass of that. From this information, calculate density. Well, we need to take length times width times height, or 4.5 times 5.2 times 6, 4.5 times 5.2 times 6, oops, sorry. That is equal to 140.4, and that's going to be labeled in cubic centimeters. Density is equal to mass divided by volume. Our mass was 1587 grams divided by 140.4, 1587 divided by 140.4 equals 11.3, and that's going to be labeled in grams per cubic centimeter. And number 8. 28.5 grams of iron shot is added to a graduated cylinder containing 45.5 milliliters of water. The water level rises to 49.1 milliliter mark. From this information, calculate density. So we have a graduated cylinder with water in it. That's water, and it starts off at 45.5, and when we add the iron shot to it, it goes up to 49.1. This right here will be the volume, so we have to find the difference between them, 3.6 milliliters. If we're looking for density, density is equal to mass divided by volume. Our mass was 28.5 divided by our volume of 3.6. 28.5 divided by 3.6 equals 7.9. 1666666, and that's going to be labeled in grams per milliliters. Okay.